Before we get on to the video, do me a favor and hit the like button, it greatly helps out the channel. Now back to the video. After unpacking and getting changed, Lim and Lily sat to listen to Suridyok's quarrels. Lily started stuffing her face and Lim sat listening attentively to what Suridyok had to say. Suridyok rambled on with teary eyes, and after saying what he wanted, he reported that Lim and Lily should go to the White House Guild since there was an emergency call, and that Wang had already gone to the guild. Lim praised Suridyok for his work, and he expressed that he and Lily will be leaving for the White House Guild right away. Lim was honestly surprised by Suridyok's loyalty. He thought Suridyok would totally run away in his absence, but even in this situation, he was here waiting for him and Lily to return. He was moved by Suridyok's loyalty, so he told him to pack his bag quickly so they could leave together for the White House Guild. Suridyok's teary eyes were quickly replaced with happiness, and he quickly left to pack his stuff. As Suridyok got his stuff ready, Lim turned his attention to the rainbow in the sky, and from the remaining colors he calculated that there was less than a week left. But before he could do anything, he needed to go to the White House Guild. The scene then shifts to the White House Guild, and we see a furious Beak, who questions why Lim disappeared. She expressed furiously that she kept trying to contact him because of the emergency call, but Lim turned off his phone. The ticked-off Beak asked Lim if he knew how big of a problem had occurred. Lim turned his head to Suridyok, explaining that he got the rundown from Suridyok as they were on the way. Beak turned her attention to Suridyok, and he hesitated to greet her. Beak quickly recognized him from the lake, but she questioned why he didn't evacuate like the other civilians. Lim interrupted, questioning if there was room left in the guild, and he expressed his plans to stay for a while. Beak wondered if Lim wanted to stay at the guild because of the gate. She grabbed Lim's arm, and she told him that she will call someone to guide Suridyok. But Lim needs to go quickly and meet Changsu. As he was being dragged off, Lim turned to Suridyok and he told him to move the luggages and take a break afterwards. As they were walking to meet Changsu, Beak asked Lim if he knew that he was the only one who didn't respond to the emergency call. She expressed that even Changsu will be angry. Lim had an annoyed look on his face, and he told Beak that Changsu wouldn't be angry if he was the one who didn't answer the phone on a weekend. At the door to Changsu's office, they came across Wang, who was shocked to see Lim and Lily. Wang quickly rushed over to give Lim a hug, however Lim moved out of the way, evading Wang's hug. Afterwards, he asked Wang in an annoyed tone if he had gone crazy, and he questioned why Wang attacked him all of the sudden. Wang with teary eyes expressed that he is just glad to see Lim, because he thought he had been abandoned. Lim reached forth his hand to help Wang up, and he expressed that even if people ignore Wang and point their fingers at him, he will never abandon him. Wang reached forth his hand to grab Lim's hand, and he looked up at him like he was some angel. Lim had no plans to abandon Wang since he is very useful to him. Lily approached Wang, and she told him that she wouldn't abandon him either since he is so kind. Wang thanked Lily, and at the same time Lim approached the door with Beak to his side and he knocked. They entered and Beak announced to Changsu that Lim was here. Changsu, who looked angry, asked everyone to take a seat. After taking a seat, Beak tried to explain to Changsu that the reason Lim didn't respond to the emergency call was because he was out of the restricted area. However, Changsu didn't see this as a valid excuse. He turned to Lim questioning if he was aware of the upcoming disaster, and Lim expressed that he was told about it on the way here. Since Lim was already aware of the disaster, Changsu explained that the great sage Aximus pulled him aside and gave him a prophecy. Changsu told the others that Aximus said the 7th Knights will bring light if they are left to the wheels of fate. Changsu thinks Aximus was probably talking about Lim's team, and both Beak and Wang agreed. Lim started blushing after hearing what he said when he was playing the Aximus role, and even though he said that for the good of mankind, it was still embarrassing to hear others repeat his cringy words. In a serious tone, Lim expressed that the prophecy must mean Changsu should let Team 7 carry out a solo operation. Lim knew that it would be a waste of time if his team only handled the monster disposal at a designated location. It's better if his team could act independently, so he could destroy the core gate. The reason the disaster is called the Night of the 7 Moons is because of the 7 gates with the colors of the rainbow that appears among the other 100 gates. The core gate is the root of the other surrounding gates, and if it disappears, the other gates nearby will disappear as well. Lim conveyed the information of the 6 gates that needed to be destroyed as Aximus. However, he told Changsu that the red energy from the final gate seems to be beyond his ability. It's stopping him from sensing its location. Changsu thought this was a shame, but he expressed that Aximus has done more than enough for them. Lim didn't tell them the location of the red gate because of the soul stone, and as he waited to hear Changsu's thoughts on his interpretation of the prophecy, he thought about using the soul stone to achieve his dream of becoming handsome. Changsu turned to Lim, and he expressed that he had the same interpretation of Aximus's prophecy. However, he questioned if a prophecy would have such a simple meaning. Beak and Wang agreed with Changsu. Beak thought there might be some hidden meaning within the prophecy, and Wang was overwhelmed. To him the prophecy was abstract, making it hard for him to understand. Lim was shocked by the response of his team members and his guild leader. He asked them if a great sage who wants to help people would give them a difficult prophecy. Then he told them that they shouldn't be looking so hard into things. Lim, who made the prophecy, knew for a fact that there was no hidden meaning behind the prophecy. After some persuasion, Team 7 was able to carry out a solo operation, and 3 days later at the White House Guild training ground, we see Lim trying to teach Wang something. Wang was in a squat position, with his arms stretched forwards. Lim pressed Wang's mana points, and afterwards he asked him if he could remember the path through which mana moved in his body just now. However, Wang couldn't remember the path. Lim turned his attention to his phone, which he used to pull up an image of the Sword Emperor's record. He told Wang that he would do it one more time, so he should do his best to remember it well. The Diamond Power Fist in the Sword Emperor's record is a martial art that focuses on external martial arts, so the breathing method is simple. It's just enough to make the body stronger and assist the basic skills, but it will be useful for Wang. He poked Wang's mana points again, and afterwards he asked if he understands now. However, Wang was still a bit confused. The Sword Emperor said that once he quickly learned the teachings, so Lim questioned why Wang was having such a hard time. Lim showed Wang multiple times after this, but still Wang couldn't grasp it. This frustrated him, and in a fury he hit Wang, while expressing that this was already their 30th time. He called Wang a monkey for not being able to grasp it yet. Wang stood up, and in a saddened tone, he expressed that he is getting the hang of it, so he will practice on his own from now on. Lim walked away in frustration, and he expressed that it would be good for Wang to practice on his own since he had something to take care of. As he walked away, Lim thought to himself, as of now only the purple color remains in the rainbow, and the disaster is just around the corner. He approached Lily, who was having a picnic, and he asked her if the chicken was delicious. Lily, with the remains of chicken legs in her hands and crumbs on her face, expressed that it was delicious. Lim was surprised by the scene before him. He bought Lily 3 boxes of chicken, yet she was already finished with them. He wiped the crumbs off of her face with a big smile on his face, and he told Lily to get up so they could go pay for her meal. This shocked Lily, and she asked him if he bought the boxes of chicken for this reason. The red gate that Lim's team will enter once the disaster begins accommodates the Flame Valley. It's a terrain with soaring flames and boiling lava, so you have to go while suppressing the heat. On top of the heat, it's almost impossible to fight the boss monster without an essential item, and that item is the Fang of the Ice Dragon. But that item is currently being kept in the Black Hound Guild, Lim's workplace before he regressed. At the Black Hound headquarters building, we see Lim and Lily approaching the building on Lily's shield. The two of them were wearing a mask, and Lily had changed her hair color with a magic potion. The Black Hound Guild was the guild where Lim worked like a slave for years in his previous life. The work-life balance was terrible, and there was no vacation unless he got sick or injured. They approached a window, and Lim started infusing mana into a knife he was carrying. He narrated to himself that if he had received knee rehabilitation in his past life, then maybe his life would have been a little different. Although he still had some dissatisfaction with his previous life, he recognized that thanks to that he knows everything about the structure of the Black Hound headquarters building. He knows the location of the surveillance cameras and the important facilities. Using the knife infused with mana, Lim was able to stealthily open the window. He entered the building while calling out for Lily to follow behind him carefully. Inside the Black Hound security control room, we see 2 workers who were discussing the fact that everyone is going to the shelter, but they were on duty at a time like this. This really pissed them off, and in a rage they questioned why someone would rob a place like this in such an emergency. One of them expressed that if someone wanted to rob something, they should rob a grocery store or a department store. The other worker questioned if he left the door to the room open, and he expressed that as soon as the disaster starts he is going to run like hell to the guild shelter. As they explained their frustrations to each other, one of them noticed that one of the infrared cameras was off. They turned their attention to the camera, questioning if the camera was off because of a broken lens. After further observation, they realized the broken camera was the one in front of this room's door. Suddenly the doors to the room opened, and something swiftly made its way inside and dealt with the 2 workers. After dealing with the workers, Lim sat in one of their chairs, and while taking off his mask he expressed that he hasn't been here in a long time. Afterwards he pressed a big yellow announcement button, and he announced to the Black Hound Guild members that someone had invaded the guild master's room. He expressed that there were 4 intruders and they were armed and they do not appear to be hunters. He asked the guild members to move all personnel in the building to the guild master's room. The Black Hound Guild members got together and they started heading to the guild master's office at top speed. And shortly after they arrived they informed the security control room. However, in a daze they questioned why there was no one in the room. Lim smiled. Then he closed the door to the room, and he pressed the button so the lockdown wall would start coming down. Confused, the Black Hound Guild members reported to the control room that the door was locked. Lim, with a smile on his face, told them that he captured the intruders, but since they will be stuck in there for a long time, and he didn't want them to get bored, he turned on some music for the Black Hound Guild members to listen to. They headed confidently to the Black Hound Guild's storage room, and Lily broke down the door, and their eyes sparkled with greed as the glow of the Black Hound Guild's riches filled the room. Lim made his way through the riches searching for the item he came here for. Lily, who was walking besides Lim, noticed a golden statue of a chicken. She quickly made her way over, and she questioned if everything in here was worth a lot of money. Lily approached Lim, and she asked him if they would take everything in the storage room. Lim didn't see the point in taking everything as they were unnecessarily heavy, so he told her that they have nowhere to put it all. Afterwards, he left Lily to herself and he continued searching around for a special weapon room, a place he knows is where the Black Hound Guild stores otherworldly objects of unknown purpose. He found the room, and inside were all otherworldly objects, and in the middle of the room was a case displaying a fancy box. Inside this fancy box was the Fang of the Ice Dragon. Lim quickly grabbed the Fang of the Ice Dragon out of the display case, and he stored it in his clothes. Afterwards, he told Lily that they should go now. Lily, with her head turned, expressed that she is curious about what's inside a place. Lim asked what place she was talking about, and Lily pointed at a wall. She told Lim that behind the wall there's a lot of mana. Lim activated his watch's ability, and with a smile he told Lily to step back for a moment. Then he punched down the wall, revealing a storage of soul stones. Lim praised Lily, and as a bonus, he promised to get her cheese balls. He reached forth his hands and the watch started devouring all the soul stones. Lim told his watch that it could eat all of these soul stones, but he has plans to eat the next one. After the watch absorbed all of the soul stones, Lim stared at his hands, noticing that not much had changed. The nails of the gauntlet were extruding now, but that was it. With this, Lim thought he got enough to match his hard labor in his previous life, that he wasn't properly paid for, and he told Lily that they should go now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then hit the like button.